Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. In a shocking twist, Ridge Forrester's decision to reunite with Taylor Hayes over Brooke Logan may be tied to Taylor's broken heart syndrome, a real but rare stress-induced condition. After years of emotional turmoil, Taylor's health crisis following Steffi's intervention seemingly swayed Ridge's choice, blending guilt, duty, and lingering love. Ridge, torn between his deep connection to Brooke and his history with Taylor, faced an impossible decision. However, Taylor's sudden medical emergency, triggered by extreme emotional distress, forced him into caretaker mode. Some believe Ridge's choice was less about true love and more about avoiding another tragedy, especially after years of Taylor's instability. Brooke, blindsided by Ridge's shift, questions whether his loyalty stems from genuine feelings or obligation. Meanwhile, Taylor's vulnerability, whether subconscious manipulation or a legitimate cry for help, reignites debates about Ridge's pattern of rescuing her. Steffi and Thomas back their mother, while Hope and Bridget rally around Brooke, deepening the family divide. The real question remains, did Ridge choose Taylor out of love, or was this a decision driven by fear, guilt, and her medical crisis? This storyline highlights soap opera drama at its finest, blurring the lines between love, sacrifice, and emotional manipulation. Whether Taylor's condition truly influenced Ridge or simply exposed his unresolved feelings, one thing is clear: Brooke won't go down without a fight. Did Ridge really pick Taylor over Brooke because of her broken heart syndrome? According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge Forrester recently made a significant romantic choice. However, we must wonder if Taylor Hayes' broken heart syndrome is the true reason why Ridge chose her over Brooke Logan. Ridge's response to Brooke's reunion pitch didn't exactly make Taylor appear like the love of his life. Although Ridge's commitment to Taylor was widely publicized among BNB fans, keeping a promise does not imply that she is the woman he really desires. That really gave the impression that, had Brooke not already committed to Taylor, Ridge would have taken him back. Stated differently, Ridge is in too deep to turn back now, and there might be a compelling argument for it. BNB devised a tale where Taylor believed she was dying of heart failure when Rebecca Budig initially showed up as a Taylor recast. When Ridge believed he would lose Taylor forever, he became very worried about her. Naturally, further examination showed that Taylor actually had broken heart syndrome. Even though it was plainly not as serious, Ridge still felt bad about his part in hurting Taylor's feelings and making her situation worse. How could Ridge possibly break Taylor's heart again when he was such a huge support system during her recovery? Ridge gave Taylor the impression that they would live happily ever after, therefore it would be cruel to pull a rug from under her. In any case, when has Ridge ever given a damn about commitment? Ridge is impetuous and has no trouble hopping from one lady to another. Perhaps Ridge is just hesitant to get back to Brooke at this time, since doing so would destroy Taylor and demolish her hopes. Given how well Taylor has been doing, it might cause her to have another medical crisis. At this stage of the narrative, Ridge might not be prepared to do that to Taylor. Giving Taylor false optimism is arguably worse, but if Ridge is eventually going to give in to Brooke, that might be what he is doing. In any event, after choosing Taylor over Brooke, Ridge wasn't feeling very upbeat. It seemed more like Ridge merely believed he was acting morally, possibly only for Taylor's benefit. Taylor might soon discover if Ridge's genuine intentions are to shield her from additional medical drama. Although Taylor has been speculating about her future with Ridge, things might not work out as planned. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge and Brooke might not be permanently apart, so check back for any more significant romantic developments. Taylor, Brooke, and Ridge circle the romantic drain once more. On The Bold and the Beautiful, history is being repeated, and repeated, and repeated. In a scene from almost 25 years ago, Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, demanded that Ridge Forrester, then Ron Moss, make a snap decision between her and Taylor Hayes, then Hunter Tylo. His first reaction was to appear like a happy deer in headlights, enjoying the excitement of the moment but not knowing what to say. Now, a similar scenario involving Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor is unfolding, but it is even more absurd, and not simply because these two women are intelligent and attractive. Ridge is Brooke's destiny, she insists. Ridge and Brooke made a lifelong commitment to one another following their most recent reunion a few years ago. They realized they were intended to be together since they had experienced enough, both with one another and with other loves. For a long time, Brooke's declaration that Ridge was her destiny was somewhat credible. Perhaps Ridge finally grew up and saw the treasure of a woman in front of him, since his zipper has typically been the issue. Perhaps that optimism wasn't long-lived either, since as soon as the couple faced a genuine issue, he did what he always does, finding solace in bed with Taylor rather than resolving the issue at home. Ridge typically tries to defend his transgressions to Brooke and place the blame on her since he can't handle being by himself. Ridge has utterly destroyed Brooke's kid, Hope Logan, Annika Noel, making this time around more worse than the previous. There would be no turning back from what he said in real life. You simply don't use derogatory language against your stepdaughter and expect Brooke to remain, regardless of what Hope has done. The man who is your destiny shouldn't have gone to such lengths, would he? That should have been a deal-breaker right there. For a true broken heart, Taylor is trading in broken heart syndrome. Despite her reputation as a world-class psychotherapist who is capable of outthinking everyone, Taylor has a serious blind spot for her children's father. Ridge and she have made amends, but she has returned to Brooke so frequently that it has contributed to her broken heart syndrome. He genuinely cared about her physical recovery since he felt bad enough about the suffering he had caused her. For a full 3 weeks, Girlfriend was the lighthouse of female empowerment and single living before Ridge, as usual, smashed into her life. After offering Ridge a shoulder, an ear, and everything else, the astute doctor somehow believed that this time would be different, even though she understood exactly what had transpired with Brooke and that she usually loses in this triangle. It seems that Taylor did not read the psychology textbook that states that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. Taylor should have given the self-centered man who returned to her a hard pass when he promised a future he probably knew he wouldn't keep. She chose to play home instead, and she has persuaded herself that this time, things will turn out differently. In actuality, Taylor is probably going to experience another heartbreak. Ridge has a choice. Despite his actions, are we to assume that Ridge is the sole guy in Los Angeles and that he is deserving of our attention? In any case, Brooke is requesting that he choose one of them to be his lifelong partner. Perhaps Brooke uses her inside voice with Ridge because he is acting like a self-centered toddler. It's similar to hearing a mother attempt to reason with her 5-year-old after the child has just committed an infraction. Perhaps they are meant to be together if that is Brooke's idea of her destiny and her true love. Perhaps Taylor should permanently leave the Forrester estate with her cumbersome heels and dark outfit. Ridge's proposal to Taylor and Brooke's heartbreaking breakup. Ridge Forrester may pop the question to Taylor Hayes, which might make Brooke Logan's heartbreak worse, according to spoilers and updates for The Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge eventually rejected Brooke's attempts to revive their relationship and convince him to come back, stating that Taylor was his place. Brooke is in the past, in fact, she's in his past, but he didn't deny that he loved her. Although Ridge admitted that he still has some love for Brooke, he now considers her to be a part of the past. He is steadfastly focusing on the future with Taylor, honoring the commitment they made to each other. Ridge may be prepared to take the next significant step given his adherence to this concept of commitment. He might be considering popping the question if he truly wants to live out his days with Taylor. In fact, Ridge might be persuaded to make that suggestion soon by Steffi Forrester. Brooke would lose it if Taylor had a rock on her finger. Brooke might go completely crazy if Ridge chooses to buy Taylor an engagement ring and pops the question with a sincere proposal. She was already grieving over Ridge's leaving, and seeing him wed Taylor would only make her grief worse. Ridge briefly thought about getting married to Brooke again, but those arrangements ultimately fell through. In the end, he seems to think that another wedding wasn't necessary, so if Brooke decides to have that ceremony with Taylor, he will probably feel even more hurt. Brooke can experience thoughts of inadequacy as a result of this circumstance, wondering why Ridge never thought she was worthy of being his wife again. Ridge's dedication to Taylor must have some significance for the plot. We cannot ignore the soap opera's emphasis on Ridge's commitment to Taylor, regardless of the situation. It's very possible that Ridge would want to make that commitment official by popping the question to Taylor, opening the door to their future as a married couple. Could Brooke finally be persuaded to move on if Ridge and Taylor announce their engagement? Although Brooke and Ridge's reunion might seem inevitable, it's also possible that she will find love elsewhere, which would be best for Brooke. Let's see how long it lasts before Ridge waffles, as he has been open about his desire to build a meaningful connection with Taylor and leave Brooke behind. Brooke's children were destroyed by her pathological obsession with Ridge. Fans of The Bold and Beautiful are demanding that Brooke seek mental health treatment since her insane fixation with Ridge has left all of her kids emotionally damaged, with Hope ultimately losing it in a heartbreaking altercation. The lives of her children are being destroyed by broken Logan's Ridge obsession. Decades of maternal negligence are revealed by Hope's emotional confrontation. Hope Logan finally faced her mother about a lifetime of emotional mistreatment in the most recent Bold and Beautiful drama, which has ripped up a long-simmering hole in the Logan family. The dramatic mother-daughter confrontation made clear what many fans had long suspected: Brooke Logan's long-term fixation with Ridge Forrester had severely harmed her kids' emotional health. The Logan family confrontation that shook. Hope let out years of suppressed anger in scenes that made viewers reach for tissues, accusing Brooke of constantly prioritizing Ridge before her own kids. In a magnificent performance, Annika Noel captured the unadulterated anguish of a daughter who has lived her entire life feeling subordinate to her mother's sexual preoccupations. During their tense conversation, Hope yelled, "You've always picked Ridge over us. We knew exactly where we would end up, pushed aside while you pursued your destiny, every time there was a decision between Ridge and your kids." This encounter was especially painful because of Brooke's response, which demonstrated her incapacity to look past her obsessive obsession by instantly projecting her own Ridge-related annoyances onto Hope rather than understanding her daughter's suffering. A generational pattern of destruction. This is not the first time that Brooke's unwavering devotion to Ridge has negatively impacted her kid's life. Longtime viewers will recall the moment Rick Forrester shot Ridge, almost killing him, out of grief and rage. Years of witnessing his mother put Ridge before everyone else in her life led to the tragedy. Because of the severe emotional scars, the majority of Brooke's children have physically separated from her and left Los Angeles to avoid the toxic pattern. RJ, Rick, and Bridget had all established lives apart from their mother, thus Hope is left to take the brunt of Brooke's emotional absence. Mother-daughter drama produces performances deserving of an Emmy. Hope was once told by Steffi Forrester, "Our mothers couldn't be more different. My mother works as a psychiatrist." Although harsh, recent developments imply that there may be more truth to the statement than anyone knew. Yours is a lingerie model obsessed with my dad. The chapter on Bill Spencer. Ridge is not the only victim of Brooke's destructive tendencies. She saw as Bill Spencer actively plotted to ruin Hope's relationship with Liam Spencer in favor of his son Wyatt during their time together. Brooke prioritized her romance over her daughter's happiness even though she was aware of Bill's tactics, which included locking Hope in a gondola during her wedding to Liam. Hope has experienced this cycle repeatedly throughout her life, which has left her with a shattered sense of self-worth and ingrained trust concerns. Given that Hope's main role model has continuously put love infatuation before of maternal responsibilities, is it any wonder that Hope has had trouble in her own relationships? Psychological consequences. Experts in mental health could categorize Brooke's obsession with Ridge as something that goes beyond typical romantic attachment. Her readiness to forego her children's emotional needs, her incapacity to function without him, and her total ignorance of the harm she has caused all suggest a potentially dangerous psychological dependency. Hope's recent dramatic outburst suggests that the long-term repercussions of her mother's emotional neglect are finally catching up with her, as many admirers have described a year of more erratic behavior. As Hope struggles with her own relationships and decision-making, it seems like the dysfunctional cycle is repeating itself. What will the Logan women do next? At this point, it remains to be seen if Brooke will learn from this encounter or if she will continue to prioritize Ridge over her kids. The prognosis is not good given her protective response right away and her incapacity to understand Hope's suffering. This emotional release could be the first step toward Hope's recovery, or it could lead her down a more problematic path. Hope needs parental support now more than ever because her friendship with Finn is generating issues with Steffi and her bond with Thomas Forrester is already weak. Will the mother-daughter connection be able to be repaired? Or is this the last straw for a problematic family dynamic that has existed for decades? Hope launched an offensive. We were all stunned by Hope's terrible breakdown. Hope Logan, who is typically recognized for her poise and elegance, suddenly lost her temper in a way that no one could have predicted. Hope eventually reached her breaking point after suffering deceit, grief, and betrayal. She confronted the people who had harmed her, driven by a mixture of desperation and rage, and the intensity of the moment left everyone in shock. For weeks, tensions had been building, and Hope felt more and more surrounded by the behavior of those around her. Hope felt abandoned and deceived by Carter Walton's waning allegiance and Steffi Forrester's brutal business choices. She was unable to contain herself when she uncovered yet another level of deceit. She made sure her voice was heard clearly by going on the attack rather than backing down. Her shout was a declaration of war rather than merely an emotional response. Hope commanded attention as she strode inside Forrester Creations. Every action she took was a sign of her increasing disobedience, and every word she spoke was tinged with bitterness. She made it plain that she would no longer be a pawn in anybody else's game by raising her voice and making a statement. The people she was angry about were in complete disbelief. Her steadfastly encouraging mother, Brooke, fought to keep things under control and begged Hope to stop. Never one to back down from a fight, Steffi confronted Hope's rage head-on, sparking a heated argument that left everyone clutching their breath. Caught in the midst, Carter saw that his choices had driven Hope to this dangerous breaking point and found himself at a crossroads. There will undoubtedly be long-term effects from Hope's attack. She quickly dispelled everyone's preconceived notions about her and shown that she is a formidable opponent. Some will contend that she had every right to lash out after what she had been through, while others may view her response as excessive. It's unclear what Hope will do next, but one thing is for sure, she is tired of being the victim. At any costs, she is prepared to defend herself. The episode, Ridge makes his decision, Daphne makes her move, centers on crucial decisions and audacious actions that alter power balances and relationships in Los Angeles. The famous fashion tycoon Ridge Forrester is at a turning point in both his personal and professional lives. Ridge is at last forced to choose between his convoluted past with Taylor Hayes and his enduring love for Brooke Logan. The Forrester and Logan families are rocked by his decision, which rekindles long-standing rivalries and compels those close to him to reconsider their allegiances. In the meantime, Daphne, a rising star in the fashion industry, takes advantage of a chance to further her own goals. Whether driven by sexual entanglements, personal grudges, or professional goals, Daphne's strategic actions upend the existing quo and leave important players frantically trying to react. As Brooke and Taylor struggle with their unresolved feelings and the ramifications of Ridge's decision, tensions between them increase. Ever the strong matriarch, Brooke must decide if she can overlook Ridge's waning loyalty or if this is the last betrayal that forces her to start over. Taylor, however, battles her own moral compass. Is she merely rejecting being second best, or does she really want Ridge back? There is a noticeable emotional toll, and the issue is made more difficult by the opinions of family members including Steffi, Thomas, and Hope. At the same time, Daphne's schemes are activated. She creates new turmoil by her activities, whether it's controlling the boardroom at Forrester Creations, befriending an unwary ally, or using secrets to her advantage. It's unclear what her actual goals are: power, retaliation, or something more intimate. Her encounters with important characters like Donna, Eric, and even a resurfacing legacy character point to a more complex game at play that might reshape alliances in novel ways. The episode strikes a mix between personal character moments and high-stakes drama. Ridge's self-examination demonstrates his internal struggle between duty, love, and legacy, while Daphne's audacity highlights the fashion industry's ruthlessness. One thing is certain: as the dust settles, choices made tonight will have long-term effects, laying the groundwork for future conflicts, alliances, and romantic relationships in the upcoming episodes. The redemption story of Hope takes center stage. After months of emotional upheaval, Hope Logan, who has long been regarded as the Logan family's moral compass, finds herself at a crossroads. She used to be the voice of reason, but her recent behavior, especially her affair with Thomas Forrester, has caused her to doubt her own wisdom. She is now looking for atonement for herself as well as for her family. Her intervention in a startling altercation between Luna Nozawa and Steffi Forrester, which could have destroyed many lives, marks a turning point in this trip. The furious argument, Luna versus Steffi. Since coming to Los Angeles, Luna, the bright-eyed newbie, has had to navigate her complex relationships with the Forrester family, her mother Lee's secrets, and her own personal relationships. However, tensions escalate when Steffi, the tough and protective Forrester heiress, believes that Luna poses a threat to the stability of her family. Steffi views Luna's developing intimacy with Ridge and Brooke's son, RJ Forrester, as hazardous because she is still recovering from her own conflicts with Sheila Carter and is defending her marriage to Finn. She had a passionate argument with Luna, which may be the result of miscommunications, outside manipulation, or Steffi's own unresolved trust issues. Threats are exchanged, and in a fit of rage, Luna raises a weapon against Steffi, be it a glass shard, a letter opener, or something darker. Hope's valiant action. Hope intervenes quickly to defuse the situation with a combination of urgency and empathy just as Luna is about to make a mistake that cannot be undone. She emotionally connects with Luna and reminds her that using violence isn't the solution, rather than merely physically stopping her. For both women, this is a pivotal moment. It serves as a wake-up call for Luna. As she realizes how far she's been pushed and how much she's lost herself in the craziness of the Forresters' world, she breaks down. Hope sees it as an opportunity to resume her role as a mediator. She demonstrates that she is still the kind-hearted person who believes in second chances by helping Steffi, her old enemy. Steffi's response, appreciation or doubt? Despite being saved, Steffi feels shaken. It's difficult for her to take this act of goodwill at its value because she and Hope have been at odds for years over men, family loyalty, and business. Does she express gratitude to Hope or does she have suspicions about her intentions? While Liam, observing from the sidelines, is caught between pride and hope and lingering animosity over their broken relationship, her spouse Finn might encourage her to see the wider perspective. The repercussions, a temporary truce or a new alliance? Will Hope's testimony shield Luna from legal repercussions or will she face them? Will her remorse drive her away, or will this event bring her closer to RJ? Hope's redemption, is this merely the beginning of a more extensive process, or does it completely restore her position in the family? Steffi's next step, does this encounter feed a new grudge or does she become softer toward Hope? Themes and implications for the future. This plotline investigates. Heavy checkmark. Is it possible for these women to end the cycle of resentment? Heavy checkmark. Maternal instincts, Hope's maternal disposition versus Steffi's protectiveness. Heavy checkmark. Legacy of violence. Almost all of the characters in BNB have been pushed to the brink. Can Hope's intervention alter Luna's course or will she continue down that dark path? What comes next? A mental health crisis in Luna? Would she have a breakdown or make a strong confession about her history as a result of this? Are Hope and Steffi compelled to collaborate? A surprising coalition against a shared foe, Thomas? Sheila? Test of RJ's loyalty. Will he support Luna or will Steffi persuade him that she poses a threat? In conclusion, this episode, which combines character development, intense confrontations, and emotional depth, is a masterwork of high-stakes soap drama. As Hope averts a catastrophe, Steffi confronts her own biases, and Luna's future is at stake. Hope's redemption completes a circle. There is no doubt that this conflict will have long-term effects for rivalries, relationships, and Los Angeles's power structure.